Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Prairie Banana here with Crypto Kong, and we're just gonna have a stream today and chat. We're gonna talk about pTGC, UFO, PulseChain, just whatever comes to mind, and we'll look into pTGC.com and just keep it on crypto. How you doing, Kong?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I think it's gonna be a nice chill stream today, so I'm excited. For anyone who doesn't know, look, I'm sort of like the developer behind looking at PGC, so I've just been coming on streams recently and trying to also, especially now that PTGC is down, just kind of showcase more of the stats and even like the machine behind it. Still, kind of, in my opinion, it's still working, still kind of pumping out full force a little bit. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yep. The machine won't stop as long as there's a pulse chain. I mean,
As long as
all
there's
the
a pulse on the pulse chain.
yeah. I mean, all the users could literally just and PDC would just continue to deflate and pay rewards to nobody, I guess, and do its pTGC machine thing. And UFO, well, UFO might be a different animal because its LP is user provided, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But PDGC is a little bit. I think it is the. It's like I've heard it been called the mothership, and even on
Mhm.
the stats and stuff, you can clearly tell it's the I'll say it's the coin driving the car, right? It's so
It's the alpha.
yeah, for sure. And you can tell sometimes UFO, like it will stun on PDGC for a little bit, but I think it is also like an amplifier in that sort of sense too. Where I think UFO's job and intention is to like support PDGC in that sort of sense as well. So
Yeah. So PTDC could be the engine of the Lamborghini, and UFO is the body and everything else.
yeah,
Maybe something
that could
like
be
that.
true actually. Yeah, protecting from all the what is it, scratches and gravel.
Yeah, and without the body and your clutch pedal and the steering wheel, the Lamborghini is not going anywhere.
Yeah, and I don't know. We could say yeah. It's like I like the Lamborghini comparison because I think that's a good point, right? Like you got a Lambo engine, you need a Lambo chassis for it too,
Oh
which
yeah,
like
man,
UFO
yeah.
supports.
You don't put a Lambo engine in a '57 Chevy, you know.
Or maybe you do.
A redneck would.
It's like, oh look,
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
how about we look at some charts? How about we go see some red today? Shall we see some red?
yeah. Is it I didn't look too much
Have
into
you
the
looked?
pulse
You
chain
haven't
this
looked yet.
morning. Is it really bad or just a little bad?
Pulse chain. Let's see. From my perspective, it's still in the threes. Bitcoin pulled back to 105. It's from the war. Israel attacked Iran, and so I don't know how long this will go on. My experience is, I don't know. Tell me about what your experience is, but it seems like this red will last about 24 hours, and then everything will start coming back up. What's
I
your
think this
experience?
is what happens almost every. I don't want to be that, but I think this is what happens like almost every time we
Yeah,
see like some sort of bad news and like yeah, um, yeah. It always seems to, like I always see the memes about it where it's like you're about to make generational wealth in your portfolio, and then the very next day it's like all the rockets being launched from the control centers across the world, and you're like, God damn. But yeah, I think it's almost like this every time where there's some bad news. We have like a dip and it gets cleared up. And I think even the markets were looking very nice. Like even Ethereum was looking very nice. And like this retracement might even be helpful if like we want to go higher later type of thing. Like it's always not bad to have a little retracement. So
yeah, it's normal, and it's yeah, you're right. It happens like every time there's some negative news, the market will tumble, and then it recovers. In my experience, it's like it'll recover in a day or a few days. We'll be right back to where we were. But we were actually leveling off right even before that news, honestly. So what do
I
you
think
think?
so.
Yeah. What do you think? Ethereum was moving up against Bitcoin pretty well. Do you think it's? I haven't clicked on the Ethereum BTDC chart yet. What do you think? What are you guessing? What's your guess? Is it still in the green against Bitcoin?
That's a good question. What's the ETH price today?
25.
I think I oh wow, it's -6%. I think it would probably still be like on a week in the green. I don't know, maybe not on the day or something like that, but
Let's see. We'll start with the. Oh, it went straight to the monthly. Ooh, we got a little sliver of green there.
there we go. Just holding on by a thread. So
But we got 17 days left this month, so it was trending up against Bitcoin. So I think that trend will continue. With definitely with 17 days left in the month.
I was looking at the altcoin season index, and I think even I don't know, we've seen the prices recover at least for some of the things. Like we've seen them recover for the past little bit, and that altcoin season index is still like way at the lows, like way in the Bitcoin season. So
Where do you see the altcoin season index?
if you search it, it should be the first one of the first things that pop up.
Okay, I'm gonna look that
I
up.
can also pull it up if you want as well.
I'm just doing a Google search. Is it a chart or is it like a number?
It's a chart, and it's by Blockchain Center.
Okay, I
At
found
least the
it.
one that I look at.
But you can share your screen too if you need to share anything.
Oh, no problem, no problem. But yeah, if
Uh,
you scroll down, you can see the chart there as well.
oops.
And yeah, we are like, I mean, Ethereum's starting to move. Altcoins are starting to move. Things have started to make a nice little run. And
Yeah.
this is like completely in Bitcoin season. Like it usually actually doesn't get this low, even if you compare it to like back, I think that's 2024, September, July. It's like
Hmm.
we're right at those same levels there. And then we know what happened like going into like November, December. So I don't know. We'll see if this repeats and stuff. But usually also PulseChain will, and also pTGC like by, you know, like just following suit will also like respect this as well. Quite it respects it quite well is what I'll say.
Hmm.
Especially WPLS will like it'll follow the trends of this chart. So
Right on. Well, let's speaking of PTDC, let's see how it's doing. It's still holding 9.7 against WPLS. So that's encouraging because we were down in the eights or well earlier this week. Let's see that yeah, that's the daily. So man, just 4 days ago it was 8.6 and now we're at 9.7 pulse per PTDC. So that's good. Look how much we moved up in since the 10th, which was that Tuesday? We're up 14% against Pulse in 4 days. I like that.
yeah, I think PTGC's holding up quite well. It's still there at like what is that? 303. So
87. Well, 88 because I like to round up. $88 million market cap. Let's look at UFO. Do you have any? I have not been checking the volume. Do you have any idea what the volume was yesterday? We can find that obviously on Look Into.
I think it was I think PTGC was like 200,000 yesterday. I
Oh,
can't quite
really?
remember what the UFO volume was off the top of my head, but I don't think it was. I don't think it was anything too crazy or anything like that. But
Okay. Yeah, I will. I want to look at that next. I want to look at the volume next, but let's look at the at UFO. It, of course, took a tumble with the rest of the market, but I want to see it against WPLS, see what's happening there. We have to go back a little bit further to see. Oh, let's put it on the daily like we did with pTGC. Yeah, we're up since the 6th of June. 4% against PLS. I think UFO is just going to take some time to really show its true colors. I don't know when that's going to be, but with its thicker liquidity, I think it's going to have its day. What do you think?
I think so. Um, I think so. I don't know. I would like. I don't. I'll just be watching it and seeing what happens when PLS starts to move up. Because I think right now it's just even Prairie you were showing. I thought we wanted to share this last time, but with the PulseChain volume relative to like the greatest currencies and stuff, and it's just like the
Yeah.
chain right now is not doing that much volume in general, right? So it's like
Yeah, we could do that. Let me pull up. Let me pull that up, actually. Let me drop this down, and then I'll get direct to that slide. This is impressive, this slide that I've got. It shows the price and volume from back in August up to April. Hey, thanks for dropping in, Condor. Good to see you. I wonder if it is like when it comes to viewers, Kong. I wonder if people are just not accustomed to us streaming on Fridays, and if streaming regularly will draw in more people. You know. Hey, Zen's in the chat. Good morning. So is this what you were referring to, Kong? This here?
yeah, this is what I was talking about with like the PulseChain volume and stuff. So we'll see what happens with UFO as well.
Oh
Um,
yeah, true.
but I think it like I wouldn't be surprised if it's something like this, right, where we see the pTGC volume kind of go to a crazy thing as the PulseChain volume just does like even a little bit of an increase. So
Yeah, I would like to see, and we have this is a trend that we have seen. I want to see rewards tracking volume and price. Maybe it's just price. Let me pull up this slide, and so we can get right on it. I think it's this one right here. Watch this. Have you seen this one?
I don't know if I've seen this one yet.
And Zen, we'll get to the reflections update here in just a minute. I just want to run through this slide. Okay, so look at the bottom is July, right? $27,000 in volume per day, 45 tokens in reflections for every 1 million that you held. And then you zoom up to March, where volume, if you see the little stars down below, volume had done about a 16x and price had done a 13x. Volume is now $425,000. And for every 1 million that you held in your wallet, you're still earning, about 46 tokens. And that's a 3, 6, that's a 9-month span. So what this slide shows is that price increased, volume increased, and because price and volume increased about the same, the number of reflections for this holder remained stable. So his 45 pTGC earned in July was worth equal his 46 that he earned in March. Did I say that right? Does that make sense?
Oh no, that makes sense, and I think that's actually a good graphic and stuff. I think it shows the yield never really dropped off too much, eh? So
Yeah. I mean, so and how this works is that when price goes up, you should earn, like if volume didn't track with price, if price goes up, you're going to earn fewer tokens. They're just going to be earned, worth the same. But in this case, volume increased with price. And we hope that trend continues.
And I honestly think it will. Um, I don't know. I was looking at some of the API metrics and stuff, and honestly, it looks like price almost. I don't know. Like I'm gonna look more into it and stuff, but it looks like there is like a factor where if there's enough volume being pushed through the ecosystem, like the price is it's gonna get brought up and stuff. So
Yeah. Well, it is a 9-month history. So, history tends to repeat. And yeah, that makes me very excited for the future of holding pTGC. And that's just reflections. You see the staking rewards were practically identical. So, you know, you've got 3 opportunities to earn with the grades. You've got just holding the tokens to earn reflections, staking during staking rewards, and then locking, which is kind of an animal itself. It's almost like a separate discussion because it's not related to volume or price, really. Makes
yeah,
sense?
this is an interesting slide. So
Mhm. Let's talk about, let's go to look into and review the new arrangement. So I don't know if you guys know this, but Kong rearranged the yield calculator because it was, and I'm not picking on you, Kong. I'm very thankful for this site. We all are. But the reflections calculator was a little bit busy. you
yeah,
know,
no, it was pretty clunky before. So
there was a lot of great information on there, but having to scroll too much was just, and now I don't think you have to scroll at all. I'm looking at it. Let's read this comment here. Price is directly correlated with volume. Liquidity, price, and volume are all tied together. As price rises, so does liquidity and volume. Yeah. All right. Let's look at the reflections calculator. And this is the rebuilt reflections calculator. Give me a second here. I want to make my screen look less busy. Sorry, that's a term I got from my wife when we first got married. I was like, busy? What do you mean busy? She's like, it's just there's too much stuff. You want to walk us through this? Do you want to share your screen, Kong?
I'm good if you're already sharing. All you got to do is just input a number of tokens, and then it should do the rest for you.
Okay, let's put in 100 million. Nice round number. Let's see. Yep, it's 100 million. Okay. And this is, we're using the pTGC tab. Do I need to calculate or do I need to go into experimental mode?
Oh no,
What happens when I do go into experimental mode?
you can do volume scenarios for you know, you
Okay.
can like, yeah.
Well, do we want to do a volume scenario or this is based on the last 24 hours,
That's
right?
correct. Currently, yeah.
Okay.
What you're looking at, yeah.
All right, cool. So the last 24 hours of volume was 150,000 and the current APY would be 0.61%. So talk about all of this down here, Kong.
Oh yeah, so just on the right side there, you can see your daily yield, monthly yield, yearly yield in pTGC, and then the chart there is just charting out the exact same like yield there, but just like projected over like 10 years if you were to earn this same APY for the next 10 years, like what approximately would that growth look like?
Mm-hmm. Can you just make these the raw numbers? Do you have that ability?
Like just 50,000 with the decimals there?
Yes, like with the commas, like 50, that'd be 50,030. Or
Oh
do you
yeah,
have,
it's definitely possible.
okay, I think that'd be Here I am giving you feedback while we're live in front of everybody. I think that'd be like from a user perspective, I would be able to understand it, like get right on to the number of tokens instead of having to, translate it in my mind.
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
609,000. So in a year. So this, let's see. This is 100 million tokens, and this is the reflections calculator. So this at today's volume of $150,000, he would earn 50 cents today, and over a year, $185. And so I was visiting with Kong before the stream. I'm actually working on a calculator that will illustrate how much it'll illustrate the urgency of getting in and starting to earn reflections. Because, like, for example, this guy is earning 50 cents worth of pTGC today. And you're like, well, what's that? It's 50 cents. They can't even buy a Coke for 50 cents. Well, what's that going to be worth a year from now? Well, we speculate that price is going to increase. So if price increases 10x, that 50 cents becomes $5. And then you start stacking up that up day after day, 50 cents every day. And as price goes up, now it's worth, you're earning or as volume increases, you're earning 60 cents and so on worth of pTGC. And then as price goes up, there's going to be a difference between, what you're earning, what you would have earned up to that point, like a year from now, versus getting in at that point. It's going to be all the reflections that you've earned times the current price at that time, at the future price. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And even that $153 you were looking at, that's like $103 of pTGC, right? So, and that's based off the current price. So if pTGC does a 10x, then theoretically it's like your yield in theory is also 10x, right?
Yeah.
So you got to be in before, the price appreciation and all those reflections come in. So
right. And then there's something else that you got to factor into that equation too. Do you know what that is?
What is that?
The reflections that your reflections are going to be earning. Because unlike staking rewards and locking rewards that are held in the contract, the reflections are not held in the contract. They come straight to your wallet, and you don't need to do anything with those reflections when they come into your wallet for them to begin earning more reflections.
Yeah, I do think that the experimental mode on the site does do like the compounding based off your yield on your yield and stuff. So,
oh, okay. Well, that's cool. Well, I'm going to incorporate that into my little calculator too, just because that's a thing. It's not much. I mean, if you earn like, what's this guy earning? Yeah, 1,500 pTGC in a day, you're not going to earn much reflections on 1,500 pTGC. But the point is, you do, and you will see a difference when it's day after day after day, And so on that topic, it helps to have a long-term mindset, in crypto versus, I'm going to get into this asset and be out in as short a time as possible. Let's flip that around and say, how can I be in this as long as possible? Because that's where the gains are really going to be realized.
So yeah.
So the Grays says, if you are staked and locked, you would be earning roughly 200% more than that. Correct? Roughly. That is something that I nailed down. It seems like I always need to go back and revisit this, and you can look this up too in that spreadsheet that you have the link to, Kong. But the difference between staking and reflections and then locking and reflections. So this is what I have on my sticky note. The last time I looked at it, staking earns 61% more than holding or reflections. It earns 61% more, and then locking earns 59% more than just holding. But the thing of it is, you can't lock without staking. So technically, if you're locked, then you're earning, it looks to me like 120% more than just reflections. But Zen is the math wizard, and he's probably going to speak to that, I imagine. But you're pretty good with math, Kong.
Yeah, I'm not sure of the exact numbers, to be honest with you. So I've never calculated them myself.
Okay. And you actually have the ability to put APY into the look into, right? You just got to hit the go button.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit.
It's just costly. That's the thing, right?
Yeah, no, I can't pay for it. So
Okay. Well, what else? What else, man? We got. Was there anything else on the reflections page?
unless you have something else you want to cover, I'm all good.
Was this in the old one? This one right here? Was it just based on the 24-hour volume? I don't even remember. I always just hit the experimental mode.
The old one was more so based off the contract at pTGC, but they're both roughly around the same number. If anything, this one might be a little more conservative, but still quite accurate.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Just staking will always be more than 100% more APY because it's the same reward, but less people. The answer is yes, because not everybody stakes and fewer people lock. If you stake and lock, you receive roughly 200% more APY. Okay. Does that make sense to you, Kong?
I guess so. Yeah.
You haven't worked with it as much as Zen and I have, and Zen's more on top of it than I am. All right. What else, man? I'm going to remove this screen. We're not planning to be on here very long, by the way, guys. We just wanted to jump on and chat about the grays and call it a day when we're done. Give me a second. Let me get my eyes on some notes. I think, let's see if I think we're ready to go back into look into and talk about and just run through the tabs. Can we do that? Whatever tabs you're willing to show.
Yeah, which ones do you think?
Let's have a look here. We'll just pull it up and we can work on it together. Just a second. I'm kind of doing a different setup this time. If you guys couldn't tell, because if I found out that if I share my whole screen, you guys can see my cursor, and I think that's helpful. So here it is. Let's just go straight to the dashboard. Yeah, man, I think it's a good idea. We'll just run to the dashboard because there's valuable information there. Let's pull that up. So I'll just run through it, and if you got any comments, Kong, just give them a shout. We have burned 41.5 billion tokens, so 12.45%. Check this out, man. This is something I've been ruminating on. If you got in day one of pTGC, and let's say you had a billion tokens, you'd probably pick it up for $5 back then. Not that cheap, but and I'm not bitter. I'm upset, but I'm not bitter about that. Let's say you picked up 1 billion tokens. Yeah, on day one or first couple weeks, whatever. And there was no supply. There was supply being burned, but it was like point something, 0.00 something probably. And now you still hold that 1 billion tokens. Well, at the beginning, you earned a certain rate of reflections. And now, because supply has been reduced by 12.45%, you're earning 12.45% more reflections. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. Yeah, I think what you're saying is like the reflections being paid out to less tokens in a way.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Because, there's those tokens that are in, and somebody said this on us. I think they said it on a space or on a stream. And it just made so much sense because I always think in terms of, there's billions of tokens in the burn address. And this dude says, every token in the burn address is one less token receiving reflections. I'm like, that just drove it home for me, you know? So, yeah, less tokens in circulation because they're in the burn address means the tokens that are in existence, the 88%, that are still in existence are earning those reflections. It's pretty cool. So again, the longer you hold on to your bag, the more reflections you'll be earning. It's pretty cool.
I think I was saying earlier it acts like a almost like a compounding effect as well, in terms of
Yep.
if the supply is dwindling in that sort of sense, and you're gaining ownership of like the circulating supply plus reflections, it's kind of a double compounding effect a little bit. So
Yep. It's a snowball. It becomes a big snowball. The longer you can hodl, the bigger your bag becomes, your principal and your reflections. Pretty neat. Okay. So in the last 15 minutes, we have sent 33,429 of those little pTGCs to the burn address where they will never receive reflections. I think if I got it straight, the the burn address has what is called a skim bot that prevents all the tokens in the burn address from receiving reflections. And further, all the tokens that are in LP, because we got some pretty thick LP, and you can see that at secretobank.com, those tokens also do not earn reflections. And I think there's one other category of tokens that doesn't earn reflections, but I'm not exactly positive on this one. Do you want to take a guess what the third category is of tokens that do not receive reflections?
would it be like LPs or something like that?
We already covered that. So burn address tokens and tokens in LP do not earn reflections, but there's one other.
I'm not entirely sure.
It would be the tokens that are in the contract to be claimed. And that would be staking rewards and locking rewards. It wouldn't make sense for those tokens to be earning reflections, but we got the founder in the chat. So could you answer that for us, Zen? Because that's I actually literally just wrote that in my notebook this morning because I want to include that in the book. That's a detail. So do the claimable rewards earn reflections? I think the answer is no. What do you think, Kong?
Yeah, I would guess not. Right?
Yeah, we'll find out. Hopefully. If you heard our question. All right, so let's look at the metrics. Well, we're down 6% today. The volume is up. I mean, 110,000 compared to, I don't know, last week, the last few weeks, the volume has been less than impressive. And that, doesn't mean that I'm bearish on the ecosystem. I'm just saying, PulseChain was dead. It just has been like a ghost town, dismal. And just it is what it is. It's not time for PulseChain yet, but it might be the beginning of that time. What do you think, Kong?
Yeah, we'll see what happens with Ethereum and stuff in that ETH BTC ratio. So
Yep. Liquidity is $4 million. Transactions, 655 transactions. There's a ratio at 9.74. Circulating supply, 200, just under 292 billion tokens. We're 33x to a penny. You think we'll hit a penny this cycle?
it's a good question. We'll have to see how PulseChain performs, because I think pTGC has already done so well without PulseChain's help. So I mean, if PulseChain can do well, if PulseChain hits a penny, then PTGC should be at like 10 cents, right? So
Yeah. Let's see if it hits a penny. That's 0.01 divided by current price is 0.0031. 4031. That'd be a 322x. Well, we got the tool right here, man. We'll come back to that. So let's just go straight to the moon math since we already brought it up. pTGC, we'll just use the 2x factor and we'll say Pulse does the 322x. And you said it would be, how much did you suggest it would be? A penny?
just take a look.
You got to get the X in there. Otherwise, you're going to get too excited. 20 cents. Dude. Whoa. Did I get that right? Yeah. 322X on Pulse. Oh, that was with Pulse going to a penny. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you have a 2x factor on there.
Yep. Okay. So Pulse goes to a penny and we got 2x factor. But if, PTDC has done about a 14x against Pulse in the last year. So if you just divide that in less than half to be conservative, that would raise it to what? 50 cents, 49 cents. Okay. But we like to keep it conservative around here. Oh, here we are already messing around with the moon math calculator. Let's do a very modest 200x because that's an X factor of 2, 100x on Pulse. And that would put it at 6 cents. A 6 cents pTGC. All right, let's go back to the dashboard.
Yeah, I think it will kind of sort of depend on PulseChain. Like if we want to get into those like massive regions, right? I guess it could happen, but certainly I think if PulseChain is moving up, it'll help.
Mm-hmm. We're actually up on the daily volume for 180 days. We're up 249%. So does this number right here, does it change? Let me see how I can say this. Is this saying that we're up 249% today for today's volume, or what's it referencing?
Oh no, I think it says it there. The percent is versus current 24-hour volume.
Okay, perfect. That's what I was asking. Okay, so we're up 240.
So no, what it's saying is that 180-day volume is 249% higher than today.
Oh, okay.
And then what it's saying about the 7 days, like I know it's kind of confusing, but then if you do it the other way, it's kind of the same amount of confusing either way.
Okay.
But yeah, it's kind of saying we've done like 8% more volume, or like essentially the average. It's saying that the average is 8% lower than the current volume we've done today.
Do you think
Do
you think we should flip that around? Because
we could. I did it, and it's like it's not any better, but I mean, we can.
Okay. You tried it. And
then the average would show, like, for example, that 90-day average would show minus 249%, which I don't know if that makes a lot of sense. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean
I
though?
don't
Or
know.
like it would
I
show,
don't know.
or like minus 70% or whatever.
Maybe the users can help us with this. How can we make this more clear? Because when I see it just on my own, um, it it doesn't make sense. Like we were having super low volume days, and I was seeing all this green. I was like, no, something's wrong here.
Because the green would essentially mean that like the average is higher than what the volume is today. But yeah, I know what you mean. It's I don't know. I don't know how to work it, to be honest with you. So if anyone has any suggestions, like you can message me on Twitter. But I'm just gonna leave it like that for now. So
Yeah, I'll think about it too. All right, we are almost at 45 minutes. We got like 4 minutes left. What else you want to cover on the site? What can we look at? We already covered min math, reflections.
you can look at UFO.
Oh, let's do that. There's pTGC, and UFO is just down below. It has burned 8.18% of its supply. So there's 81.8 billion tokens have been burned in its 1 year, 13 months of life, when it had a starting supply of 1 trillion. So it's almost burned 10% of the entire supply. Haven't burned anything in the last 24 hours. Trying to think why. Because, the contract holds, like whenever there are transactions, it'll hold yield from users until there's enough to make it worthwhile, because it has to pay gas to send all the users, right? But I don't understand. Do you know why there isn't anything that there hasn't been anything burned?
I think partially because there is a burn threshold on UFO, and I think there's other projects that burn pTGC like continuously throughout the day. My understanding is UFO is the only project that's burning UFO currently.
Hmm.
So my understanding in the contract is it needs to build up X amount of UFO tokens in that contract. Yeah, threshold for UFO buy and burn. So it needs to build up X amount of tokens and then it'll
Same
burn
thing.
that. So yeah,
Same.
it'll usually do it in like I don't know. Like sometimes it might take 6 hours or 12 hours or 2 days. Like not 2 days, but usually just depends on how long it takes for that threshold to
Yep.
hit from the
Yep.
volume and the fees collected from volume. So
That makes perfect sense. Well, that was interesting because I've never really seen that. I don't pay attention to the burn stuff as much, but I'm sure it's been zero before. Definitely zero today. More volume, the more it hits. Yeah. Then it'll hit that threshold and burn tokens. $12,000 in volume in the last 24 hours. Yeah, it's really slow. Liquidity, $4 million. So that plus the 6 million in pTGC, and that's about it's 10 plus $10+ million in liquidity. Circulating supply 918 billion tokens. And then we are 500 UFO is 534x away from a penny. Wow. I mean, if UFO, obviously, if UFO hits a penny and pTGC hits a penny, then the gains are going to be in UFO. You know what I'm saying? Because 534 divided by 34, that's a 16x. Like if you put $1,000 into UFO right now, or $1,000 in pTGC, the money put into UFO right now would 16x. If each of them stopped at a penny, we don't know what's going to happen. Make sense?
yeah, I think I got you, but
Is then while we have you in the chat, if you can hear, we're curious whether tokens that are claimable in people's wallets are they earning reflections. Let's see if you can answer that, because that's an important. question. And then the fee allocation last 24 hours, $722 was collected in fees, and that's the 6% buy, sell, transfer fee on UFO on every buy, sell, and transfer. And then the last 180 days, $2.584 million collected. We had a big run up last fall, and that contributed quite a bit to that 2.584. And then here's where the fees went to. LP providers, they take 3%. Buy and burn UFO, $120. So in the last 24 hours, $120 worth of UFO was bought and burned. And then, of course, $120 worth of pTGC. Thank you, UFO. And then $120 was sent to holders. Right. Okay. So tokens that are being held in the smart contract for reflections and locking, no, not reflections, staking and locking rewards do not earn reflections. Yep. Cool. Got it figured out. All right, man. Have any other comments?
I think I'm all good. If I think we covered a lot of good stuff. So
okay, all good in the hood. Yeah, I think. Well, you want to do this again next Friday?
Either next Friday or we might go by with. I'd like to have like a new feature or something to talk about. To be honest with you. So that's the thing. I don't know. I was thinking about that today. So.
All right. Yeah. Well, let's get a new feature built, man. That we can stream.
So yeah.
So let's talk about the site. Look into ptgc.com. It's $24 a month regularly. If you guys want the access to all the site, you can use my coupon code PB15. There it is in the chat. And so the tabs on the end of the site, on the left and the right side, those are free. The ones in the middle are behind the paywall. And Kong put a bucket ton of work into the site, and that's why it has to be one of those paid sites, because it costs money to keep it going. So $17.28 is what it costs after the discount, after the 15% off. And then I'm writing a book about the Grace currencies. And once once it's available for people to purchase, you're going to get you're going to get a percentage off the book and the site at the same time. So that's how that's going to work. And we'll keep you abreast of all that on Twitter and here in YouTube also. All right, man. You got any comments? Any closing thoughts?
Yeah, no, just if you guys are interested in following me, you can follow me at CryptoKong145. And I think that's about it. So
CryptoKong145.
Yeah, on X, and then that's my Telegram if you need to contact me for any reason.
And is it CRIPTO or a K?
It's the same as it's kind of spelled out on the StreamYard here with a C.
There you go. Dropped it in the chat for you guys. Yeah, follow Kong on X. All right, man. You good?
Yeah, all good.
All right. Well, thanks, guys, for joining us. Appreciate it. Have a good weekend, everybody.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thanks for showing up.